So this girl in my 20s, who I thought was my really good friend, uninvited me to her wedding, and our friendship completely fell apart just because I recommended she get a prenup, so we should talk about it. So mind you, me and her used to go on these like 2-3 hour walks every single week, and we would talk about everything under the sun. And so she started dating this guy. He was a self-employed consultant, somehow in healthcare, but he had done very well for himself, and she was a nurse. And when they had started dating, he was pretty traditional and had basically said like, hey, I'm looking for somebody who is willing to stay home with the children once we get to that step. And she's like, okay, yeah, of course. She was totally okay with that. And she would always joke that he was her retirement plan. So once they got engaged, I was like, cool. Like we would talk about like what she's going to do herself, wedding stuff, just like normal traditional wedding planning talk. And so when she had told me about their arrangement, like that they were actually dead serious, they were going to try to have kids as soon as possible, I recommended she get a prenup because I am an attorney and I have practice in divorce law. So I said, you should get a prenup. And I was talking about like basic things, like him continuing to put money in her retirement fund so it grows at the same rate as his, her getting like some money in mutual funds while she's a stay-at-home mom, things that I think protect her that are very standard, that are not like a I just want all your money type situation. And she's like 100% on board with this. She's like, that's a great idea. Like, I'll definitely talk to him. And I'm like, cool. And they end up going to, like, she ends up talking to him. And she says he just like absolutely like did not react well. She texts me, says he hates this idea, doesn't think it's like a good idea that traditional families don't do prenups. Like divorce is not an option for them. You get the gist. And it should have just been left at that. But then for some reason, this really triggered him, and he started to tell her stuff like, Selma's jealous of our relationship. Selma's jealous because she's not married. Selma's trying to break us up. I don't think you should be friends with this girl. And ultimately that talk got to her because I really didn't push the prenup that much. I told her I thought it was a mistake, but that we would just deal with it when we got there. And he, like, I not only find out like she's ghosting me quite a bit, but she's also uninvited me to her wedding because the wedding happens. I never get an invitation. And I'm like, oh. But I let it go because quite honestly, like I don't want to make their marriage any harder than it needs to be. And like, I honestly don't want a friend who, if I try to give you just a piece of advice, it escalates that quickly. So I just moved on. Let's flash forward to 2025, shall we? And I get a text from her and she says, I know it's been forever. I would appreciate if you call me. Like if you don't call me, no worries. And I'm like, okay, there's something serious has to be happening. If I haven't heard from this girl in like 6-7 years now, and suddenly she is like texting me, what? And so I'm like, I text her back. I'm like, I'll call you after work. So I end up calling her, and you guys want to guess? You want to guess? So he is obviously POS, and they are getting a divorce. Like he is like, she knows he's planning on filing. And so she wants to know what she can do to protect herself at this point. Mind you, she got pregnant, I don't know, 4 months after they got married that many years ago. She's been out of the workforce that long. He obviously like made it a point to like not include her in financials. And the biggest problem for me is that he is self-employed, and being self-employed, especially at a smaller company, is a much bigger beast than your normal W-2 employee, which is why I suggested the prenup to begin with. And so, yeah, we ended up duking that out against my boundaries. I ended up helping her quite a bit and we got through it, but she did not come out as well as she should have because she didn't get the prenup. This is just to say, like we are like cordial now. Cordial. I told her she needs to make a TikTok and talk about her story because I think people could learn a thing or two, but she's not interested in that. But yes. So if you're wondering, I did get permission to make this video. I got permission like last year and then just didn't make it. But I've recently been seeing a lot of you say, hee hee ha ha, this guy's my retirement plan. I don't know what our bank accounts are. I don't know where our mortgage comes out of. Like, ladies, let's be doing our due diligence.
Okay, first of all, can we just appreciate the absolute irony here? She loses a friend because she suggested a prenup to protect the friend, and now, years later, that same friend is calling her asking how to protect herself during a divorce. It's the classic don't shoot the messenger scenario. The husband's reaction back then was the biggest red flag walking. When a partner gets that defensive about a legal document designed to be fair, it usually means they were planning to benefit from the lack of one. And look, I feel for the friend. I really do. But ghosting someone who was trying to look out for you? That's a tough pill to swallow. Ladies, if he says traditional families don't do prenups, check his credit score. Just saying. Speaking of checking credit scores, what happens when you trust someone blindly and the math just doesn't add up?
Oh, you guys aren't even ready for this story. The final straw in my marriage. I feel like I get asked this question all the time. And final straw in my marriage, let me paint you a picture here. So my ex and I, we met at work and we were accountants together. We both literally studied finance and we worked in accounting. And then I transitioned my career. I did something else, but when we were married, I was like trying to talk to him about our finances, and he would get so mad. Like he didn't want to talk about finances. He would like yell at me if I brought it up. And he would be like, you're just like, don't trust me. And like, I'm like, no, I'm trying to talk to you about like our future. And literally we're legally tied. Like, why can't we talk about our finances? And also preamble, like before we got married, I would talk to him a little bit about finances and like it wasn't as bad. And then once we were married, that's when he got a lot more hostile when I would like bring it up. So the plan was when we got married, like, okay, we're just gonna leave everything separate until he has his like student loans paid off. And that was his reasoning. Like, I don't want to combine finances because I don't want to have this debt on you. Anyway, I was like, okay, that's fine. We'll keep our finances separate. For, you know, the time being, maybe we'll get like a joint bank account at some point. And so I just like got this gut feeling because he got more and more secretive about money. And I just had this gut feeling. I was like, something's not right. Something's not right. So I was like so scared to bring it up because every time I brought it up again, he would yell at me and like literally punish me. He would like give me silent treatment or just like yell and then be in a horrible mood. So I brought up, hey, like, can we kind of like sit down and look at like our bank accounts together? And I somehow got it out of him that he accumulated $15,000 in credit card debt while we've been married, which in the state we lived in, Colorado, and California, which is where I live now, when you accumulate debt after your marriage, it's both parties are liable, even if your finances are separate. So I'm like, what the actual fuck? I've also loaned him money all the time. I've loaned him money all the time throughout our marriage. I'm very responsible with money. I'm very like good at being frugal in the areas that I need to be frugal in, and then like spending money where it matters to me. And you know, I'm like, if we literally met in accounting, like nothing could go wrong. What could go wrong? Famous last words. So yeah, found out he accumulated $15,000 in credit card debt. Guys, it gets worse. So I find out that first of all, he tells me, oh, I have a little bit of credit card debt. And I'm like, okay, how much is it? Like, I'm upset you didn't tell me, but like, we'll get through it. I can loan you the money so that you can like pay off the credit card debt and then you can pay me back. And he's like, yeah, it's $5,000. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay. Like, you know, $5,000, that's like a lot, but it's also not that much. So like, we'll be fine. I can lend you the money and then you can pay me back. And he got so mad at me. Like, he turned it on me. He was like, okay, wait, let me continue the story. Sorry, I have ADHD. I'm like, okay, $5,000, not that bad. Like, can I see your bank account? Can I see the credit card statement? And he was like, no. And I was like, okay, well, like, I kind of don't trust you because you didn't tell me about this credit card debt. So like, I need you to show me. Like, I'm literally married to you. So this is also my debt. So this is my business. This is my problem. I need you to show me. He wouldn't show me. He was freaking out. He threw a fit. This was the biggest temper tantrum he's ever had in our whole marriage. this was when I found out that he was just like lying to me about stuff. And he was just so evil to me when I found out about this credit card debt, which is crazy. But I finally was like, okay, I need you to show me the amount. Like, I was very adamant. I was like, I need you to show me this. Like, I even threatened. I was like, I will like literally divorce you if you don't be honest if you're not honest with me. It's like, fine. So he shows me the bank account, $15,000 in credit card debt. So he was lying. And oh my God, I was so upset. I started crying. And then he was like, this is your fault, because when we first started dating, like, think about all the times that you were like, that I couldn't trust you. Like, you were always flirting with other men. You always liked other men more than me. And like, I just feel like I couldn't even trust you and be honest with you. Like, literally make it make sense. None of it made any sense. I think he was like, actually, like, this was the biggest crash out I've ever seen in the world. Like, bigger than Jax Taylor on Vanderpump Rules. And, yeah, he like went and sat in his car after I found out about his $15,000, and he gave me the silent treatment. He wouldn't talk to me. It was horrible. He made my life hell after that. Mind you, this was 10 months before I was able to get away. And I have more stories, lots more stories to share, about how I like got out and kind of what happened after this, because there's so much lore. But yeah, can you guys fucking believe that?
This is terrifying. $15,000 might not sound like $1 million to some people, but it's the lying. It's the fact that he threw a temper tantrum, a grown man throwing a tantrum, to hide his financial infidelity. And notice the gaslighting? As soon as she catches him, he flips it. Oh, you were flirting with other men. That is textbook deflection. He's trying to make her feel guilty so she stops looking at the bank account. And the fact that she's legally liable for that debt in community property states? This is why we need to have these uncomfortable conversations before the marriage license is signed. He wasn't protecting her from his debt. He was trapping her with it. And financial traps aren't always about secret credit cards. Sometimes the trap is the role you agree to play within the marriage itself.
Y'all better listen up, because if you're a stay-at-home mom, this can happen to you. Yesterday, I learned something quite disturbing. So we all know I've been a stay-at-home mom for the past 7 years. I haven't made income, and get this. So my ex has asked the judge to impute my income, meaning let's pretend that for the past 7 years I've been working and making income, because I am physically able because I'm physically able to work and chose to be a stay-at-home mom and chose to be unemployed. He now wants my income imputed, meaning we're just gonna pretend like I've been bringing home a paycheck for the past 7 years. How is that even fair? First of all, I stayed home to raise our kids, and now you want the judge to pretend that I've been bringing home income this whole time so that your child support can be lower. Y'all, it is absolutely insane that this can happen as a stay-at-home mom, because you are physically able to go out and work, you just chose not to. If you go through a divorce, they can impute your income, meaning they can just pretend like you've been working and making income this whole time. I mean, what? Let's chat about invisible labor. I should have been being paid this whole time as a stay-at-home mom, and now, since I wasn't, now we have to pretend like I was. It's wild to me. I'm just shocked.
Wait, pause. Everyone needs to listen to this. This is called imputed income, and it is a nightmare for stay-at-home moms. Basically, the court says, You could be working, so we're going to calculate support as if you are working. It completely ignores the years of career sacrifice, the gap in the resume, and the cost of childcare. This is the danger of the invisible labor we talk about. You are working at home, but the legal system doesn't always value that work with a dollar sign when things fall apart. It feels incredibly unfair because it is. You sacrificed your earning potential for the family unit, and now that unit is broken, you're being penalized for it. So we've got financial ruin and legal loopholes, but what about when the betrayal strikes after you've built an entire life together?
My husband and I celebrated our 20-year wedding anniversary on December 10th. On December 12th, he sent me a text while he was at work letting me know that he was not happy and not in love with me anymore and he wanted a divorce. So, this is where my journey starts, and it sucks that it was right before Christmas. But later that night, it was probably around 11:30, 11:45, I got a message on Facebook from someone I don't know, and I knew, immediately I knew, and it was husband of his coworker letting me know that my husband and his coworker were having an affair. My husband was always the type that was like, I will never cheat on you. If I don't want to be with you, I'll let you know. And when he did tell me he wanted a divorce earlier that day, I asked, hey, is there someone else? And he, of course, denied it. I asked him again when he got home that night, is there someone else? And he said no. And still, he feels like he didn't have an affair because they didn't get to the sex part. It's still an affair, and whether he did or not, I don't know. I really don't. I don't care, if you want me to be honest. But my whole point is, right now, I have been a stay-at-home mom for the majority of the 20 years we've been together. We have 14-year-old boy-girl twins and a 19-year-old that is a sophomore in college. And I am looking for a job, and I'm gonna be fine, but I would like to get to 10,000 followers on here. And once I do get to 10,000 followers, I'll start doing story times. I want to get into the creator rewards program, so maybe I can make some sort of a little bit of an income. I know it's not going to be much. I already am a TikTok Shop affiliate. That's kind of died off, but getting into the creator rewards program will hopefully help me out. So I'm not asking for money. I'm just asking for, please follow me. Like my post, do all the things for me, and hopefully I can make it there. I've done pretty well since I posted my last video, and I think I've gained over 1,000 followers in the last few days. So thank you so much to everyone that has been so supportive. The comments, y'all, the amount of women that go through this and have gone through this breaks my heart. But anyways, if you could just hit on my buttons, and I will be back, and we will go through this 20 years of I don't even know what to call it at this point. Love y'all. Bye.
20 years, 2 decades, and he does this 2 days after their anniversary and right before Christmas? The cruelty of the timing is just, it's breathless. And the coworker trope. It's such a cliche, but it hurts every single time. Notice how he's splitting hairs? We didn't have sex, so it's not an affair. Emotional affairs are affairs. Betrayal is betrayal. I love that she's immediately thinking about her survival, getting into the creator program, finding a job. but my heart just breaks for the woman who thought she was safe for 20 years. This proves that tenure in a marriage doesn't guarantee loyalty. Loyalty isn't just about the partners, though. It's about the family you've built. What happens when he rejects the most important part of you?
So my husband told me that he doesn't love his stepson and that most of the time he doesn't even like him. And what do you know? Now we're getting divorced. Let's talk about parenting for one moment. My soon-to-be ex-husband and I have been together for over 10 years and my son is 11 years old. So it's not that just a couple of years that my soon-to-be ex-husband has been around. He has seen first steps, first words, first day of kindergarten, first day of every single grade. He's seen big milestones. He's watched sporting games. He has watched this kid grow up. And my son is a really good kid. And I know that a lot of mothers say that, but I really mean it. My son has manners, please and thank you. He's very sweet. He never argues with me. He is so kind, so intelligent, and so emotionally mature. I will address people in the comments very briefly. I have some people that are saying, why would you marry someone when you knew they didn't love their kid? Oh my God, we didn't start there. Oh my gosh, we did not start there. I did not marry my husband knowing that he didn't love my son. This is a very recent issue. This is a conversation that we had on December 1st, our 10-year anniversary, when he told me that he really doesn't like my son and that he resents him for the fact that I put him first and that my son is priority to me above anything else. And you know what? That's okay because that's never going to change. So on December 1st, when we had that conversation, that's when I knew I was done. Okay, that's when I knew I was finished. I'm like, I'm so gone. Like, you don't love this child that you have raised kind of for 10 years, this kid that you've seen grow up, this kid that is a direct reflection of me because I have poured everything in my life into raising him properly. You're going to tell me that you don't love him and that you want me to put you, a 33-year-old man, first over raising an 11-year-old boy? Absolutely not. So on our 10-year anniversary, I told him, I said, yeah, I'm done. You need help. You need to go to therapy. And he said, okay, Taylor, let's go to therapy. Like, let's try to figure this out. And I said, great. Okay. January is your month. You have to hire the therapist, book the appointment. You know my schedule with work. Just tell me when to be there and I will be there. But this is your time to shine. If you want to repair this, then you can do all of the things for therapy. Do you think he did any of that? Ladies, do you think he did any of that? No. Now, I realize that everyone does parenting differently. And I'm not saying that my way is the right way or the wrong way. I don't know that there really is like a hard line of right and wrong way of parenting. But my son is not my soon-to-be ex-husband's child. Now, if he were his child, that would be a different story. I would choose to put my husband first because it's a direct reflection of how a man and a wife should be, and it should be a good example. But because that's not the case, I am responsible for raising an 11-year-old boy to make sure that he turns out to be a decent human being. I'm responsible for giving him experiences. I'm responsible for taking care of him financially. I'm responsible for making sure that my child feels safe, secure, loved, and that he can come to me comfortably and talk to me about anything. That is my job. It is not my job to do that for a 33-year-old man. And contrary to popular belief, his happiness is not my responsibility. And anyone else, please listen. Ladies, gentlemen, everyone, your partner's happiness is their responsibility. The way that they feel about life and walk through life is a direct reflection of the work that they put in, what goes through their mind on a daily basis. And while you're there to support them as a partner, their happiness, general in life, is not your responsibility. My 11-year-old child is 100% my responsibility, and I'm going to take that to the grave. Like I believe that fully, entirely, wholeheartedly. So I will never put a man above my 11-year-old child. And the next person I find, not that I'm really even thinking about that at all, will understand that and will understand what I've been through, or I will not be with anyone else. Because ultimately, I feel like all I really need right now is my son. He needs me and I need him, and that's just kind of where I'm at.
Oh, absolutely not. You do not get to be in a child's life for 10 years, watch them walk, watch them grow, and then decide on your 10-year anniversary that you don't like them. That is a level of emotional detachment that is dangerous. He's jealous of an 11-year-old? He wants to compete with a child for the mother's attention? That is not a partner. That is another child. She is 100% right to choose her son. A man who asks you to choose between him and your child has already made the choice for you. Good for her for walking away immediately. There is no therapy that fixes, I don't love your kid. Sometimes you can walk away, but sometimes you're physically stuck, and that is where things get really scary.
Now I'm ready to share the story time of why I divorced my Chinese husband, which obviously led to me living here in China now. Do it as quickly as I can, but I need to start at the beginning, you know. Not a long story, like we weren't together very long. So in 2023, I had what might be considered my early midlife crisis, and I decided that I just got out of a long-term relationship, and I decided that I actually hadn't seen enough of the world, and I just really wanted to go to China and travel for a while because I hadn't been, and it had always been on my bucket list. Anyway, I started learning Chinese, and I met some friends kind of to exchange language with online, and he was one of them. So when I came to China, we met in person, and at the beginning things were really good. We traveled together for a while, and we, established a relationship. I decided after that I really enjoyed China, and it wasn't really related to him. I just really needed a break to do something different for a while. I wanted to take a career break, so I ended up applying for a sabbatical for a year, and I thought I'll come out here and I'll work. So I applied for a job, packed up my house, arranged for my dog to come with me, moved to China in January 2024. Because I knew him and I didn't have much experience with this, I just kind of followed him. I just thought I would come and join him where he lived. I came to a city, and we ended up living in a small city called Wenling, which is in the Zhejiang province. And really quickly, I could tell you that things were not good, and we argued a lot in those first few weeks. I can't even remember what most of those arguments were about now. I remember I would sleep on the sofa, or he would go outside and not come home, he would refuse to talk to me, these kind of things. But it had this kind of intermittent reward loop of sometimes he was really nice, and then other times he was really angry over the most innocuous of things. My dog was molting a lot, these kind of things. I just felt like I was walking on eggshells. So at kind of towards the end of January, we moved to a bigger apartment because we had my dog, and it just made sense. And I was so exhausted. I don't know why I was so tired. Everything was around his schedule, when he wanted to do it, when he was ready. And we ended up not actually moving stuff over to the new apartment until maybe 10 p.m. I remember I just wanted to sleep and leave everything and do it the next day, but he kept telling me that we just needed to get it done now. And we got into a bit of an argument about it because I was that's really not very considerate of how I feel. And then he said that he thought I was a horrible person. Start as you mean to go on, this was the first time he told me he wanted to break up with me. And I remember because I was really scared. I'd been in China for 3 weeks at this point. I was really scared, and I was crying, and I was like, oh my God, please don't break up with me. The next morning when I woke up, I thought something's not right. I haven't had my period, I'm really tired. So I took a pregnancy test, and
This is a horror movie setup. She's in a foreign country, isolated, doesn't speak the language fluently, and he's engaging in this intermittent reinforcement. Nice 1 minute, monster the next. That walking on eggshells feeling? That's your nervous system screaming that you are not safe. And then, the pregnancy test. My stomach just dropped. Being trapped in a toxic relationship is bad enough, but being trapped in one while pregnant, thousands of miles from your support system? I genuinely hope she got out. This is why just leaving isn't always as simple as people make it sound. Not all heavy stories end in divorce. Sometimes people catch the problem before it destroys everything.
I have been with my husband for almost 20 years, but about 3 years ago, I was strongly considering divorce, and I want to talk to you about why. So I'm going to tell you the story of the day where I thought to myself, maybe I don't want to do this anymore. My husband and I had 4 kids. We both worked full time. We had been together for 16 years at this point. We've been together since high school. And on paper, I have an amazing husband. He is incredibly supportive. He's kind. He's loyal. He's a great dad. He's very hands-on. He's an active participant. He's always present. Like, on paper, what else could I ask for? But in reality, my experience is very similar to the experience of other women. I had this amazing husband who on paper was great, but I was incredibly frustrated and burnt out from our marriage and from motherhood. Because what happens to so many of us is that we marry these amazing men and we have amazing relationships, and then we have kids. And when we have kids, women tend to carry a disproportionate amount of the work in the home, the work of raising kids, and the mental load. And that is exactly what happened to us. About 3 months after my 4th baby was born, I remember looking at my husband and saying, I need more. I need you to do more. I am exhausted. I am in charge of everyone and everything in this house. Every night when we cook dinner, you ask me what to make. Every day when you drop off the kids at daycare, you ask me what they need in their backpacks. I am the project manager of this home and I need you to do more. And he looked at me and he said, okay, just tell me what to do. Right? Every woman has heard this. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it. And I said, okay, something that would make my life easier is if in the mornings when I came downstairs with the 4 kids, because I do mornings by myself, the dishwasher was emptied, the dishes were put away, and the trash was taken out. That would make my life so much easier, because when I've got the 4 kids running around and the baby crying, I can't be looking for their favorite water bottle in the dishwasher. I just need to know it's clean. And he said, yeah, of course. What? Yeah, I'll do that. That's no problem. And so, of course, he does it. But then I have to remind him, and then he forgets, and then I have to remind him again. And there was this one morning where I woke up, and I went to put something in the trash and it was overflowing. And I went to get my son's water bottle and it was in the dishwasher with all the other clean dishes. And I felt so disrespected and unseen and unvalued at that point in time. And I remember texting my husband being like, what happened? Like, why didn't you do this? And he said, sorry, I was running late for work. And I remember thinking, oh my God, he doesn't see me, because what he's done has now made me late for work. And he doesn't care about that. He doesn't care about the impact on me. And he doesn't see how every single thing in our home happens because I ask him to do it, or because I do it myself, or because I planned and organized it. The diaper bag is full because I filled it, right? I put the wipes in there. And I felt so frustrated. And I remember thinking, what's the point? What's the point of doing this with someone else? I might as well just do it alone. And it's not because my husband didn't love me or he did anything to me. And it's not because I didn't love him, but because I felt so taken advantage of in our relationship. And this dynamic, it doesn't happen by accident, right? It's not like my husband did it to me, but we've been raised in this society that tells men and women who they should be in marriages and what it looks like to be a good mom versus a good dad. And we know the bar for moms is way up here and the bar for dads is way down here. And we fell into these norms. We fell into these roles in our family, despite the fact that we never wanted to. And I'm lucky, and I say lucky because I have a partner who I know loves me and wants me to be happy and was willing and able to change. And so we did the work to figure out what equity looked like in our relationship. And I can tell you now, 3 years later, that we are happier than ever. Our kids are thriving. Our home runs like a well-oiled machine. And that took a lot of work. I want to say it took like 18 months to get there. And it was well worth it. But it is not uncommon. And so if your wife is coming to you and she's saying, I'm burnt out by the mental load and I need you to do more, she's not just saying that because she wants you to do more chores. She's saying that because truly it can hurt your relationship. It can ruin your marriage if you do not participate in an equitable way in your home. And so what does that look like? What does it look like to change these dynamics? Well, we need to really assess in our homes what the work looks like. Because in most homes, the data supports this, women do a disproportionate amount of the work. They just do. They do more of the cooking and the cleaning and the laundry and the childcare while also working full time. And men have more time for things like their hobbies, like golf, for example, or just working out, running a marathon, right? And so we need to have hard conversations about what our time looks like, what our labor in the home looks like, what is invisible labor. We have to talk about these things. And when we don't, the alternative is that you no longer have a marriage, or you don't have a happy one at least. And so I share this story because I don't think I'm alone in this experience, and I want people to know that there's hope, and that if you have a willing and able partner, you can change this. You can absolutely change this dynamic.
This right here, this is the root cause of so many of the divorces we just heard about. It's not always the big explosion, it's the slow burn of resentment. I am the project manager of this home. I felt that in my soul. When he said, just tell me what to do, he was asking her to do more work, the work of management. It's amazing that they were able to fix it, but notice it took 18 months of hard work. It proves that a marriage can be saved, but only if the partner is willing to check their ego and actually pick up the slack. If he hadn't changed, she would have been the woman in the next video. And if you do end up alone, whether by choice or by circumstance, is it really the end of the world?
Which of these sound more appealing? Widow, widower, or single again? Well, I never have really liked to call myself a widow. I may talk about it in here once in a while, but I don't call myself a widow. I don't really call myself single again either. But many times I've been asked, well, wouldn't you like to get married again? Or don't you miss having the fellowship of someone to go out to dinner with and that'll touch you and love on you? No. Mm-mm. And I've got a cute little thing to tell you. I went out, I've learned my lesson about eating out. If you're going to eat out by yourself, and if the place has a bar where they serve food, you're less, it's less obvious that you're all alone. So I tend to sit at the bar if I'm going to eat. So this one night, I went into this little restaurant, and they had a long bar, and it was loaded with people, and there were 2 little empty chairs at the end. So I headed for an empty chair, but there was a young man, probably in his 30s, 40s, somewhere in there. And he was standing in front of the 2 chairs. So I said, are you going to sit in one of these chairs? He said, no, I've come up to get a beer. So he helped me get in my chair. And we got to talking, and he was a little bit, he'd had a few of those beers. And he was, he wanted to tell me a sad story. And he had lost a girlfriend or ex-wife. I don't know what she was, but he had recently lost somebody. And so me, trying to be compassionate, I said, I understand what you're saying. I said, I lost my husband recently, and I totally understand. And he looked over at me and said, well, you're young enough to start over. And I said, listen, let me buy you another drink. I said, because the more you drink, the younger I look. He said, well, how old are you? I said, at the time, I'm 82. He about fell off of his chair. And so, anyway, I don't know if it's an age that makes you, I think some women want another mate, but I think the majority of them don't at this age. I'm having to adjust to a dog that doesn't require anything but food, water, and a trip to the bathroom. I can't imagine adjusting to a new roommate. I don't want to do that. I've had the love of my life. I'm happy with it. I am single again, but that's because I choose to be, I guess. And to be honest with you, I've been single, since 21, and it's 25, so that long. I've not had one person make a pass at me. Does that bother me? No, it doesn't. In fact, if someone did, I think I'd just faint. I wouldn't know what to do with it. So, y'all, it's wonderful to find contentment in your life. And I found that somehow. Me and this this little guy here. She's cute and she's quiet and she likes to be near me. And occasionally she insists on a cuddle. So what are some of the things that hinder you from finding contentment at this stage of your life? You know, this also applies to divorcees. That's a loss too. It's a huge, I've been divorced, so I understand that loss too. There's not much I haven't been through. But anyway, what things hinder you from finding that peace and contentment in your life? Is it, well, you tell me. And maybe some of the comments in here will help you to overcome the issue that's keeping you back. And you'd be surprised how many people minister to one another in here. I have a wonderful bunch of followers. You're also kind and understanding and helpful to others as well. Well, y'all, this is my little 2 bits for today. I love you. Thanks for dropping in to see me. Bye-bye. Oh, listen. If you are not getting my videos like you used to, I said if you follow me and hit the little bell, and I think that helps it come back around to you sooner. All right, love you. Bye.
I want to be her when I grow up. I can't imagine adjusting to a new roommate. I love that. She is the ultimate proof that being single is not a punishment. She had the love of her life, she has her memories, she has her dog, and she has her peace. Society tells women that if we aren't chosen by a man, we are invisible. She is 82, drinking a beer at a bar, and she is completely content. That isn't sad. That is freedom. It's a beautiful reminder that your relationship status does not define your happiness. We've just been on a journey through the entire life cycle of modern relationships. And if there is one thread connecting the prenup in the first story to the peaceful widow in the last, it's the concept of autonomy. Think about the women we heard from today. The woman in the first story was punished for trying to maintain her autonomy through a prenup. The woman in the second story had her financial autonomy stolen by a husband who hid debt. The stay-at-home mom is fighting a legal system that refuses to recognize the value of her labor, effectively stripping her of her economic identity. These aren't just bad breakup stories. They are cautionary tales about what happens when we hand over the keys to our life, our finances, our legal standing, our emotional well-being, to someone else without a backup plan. We often talk about trust in relationships as if it means blind faith. We're taught that checking the bank account is unromantic, that asking for a prenup is planning for failure, that doing all the housework is just what moms do. But what we saw today is that blind trust is a liability. The husband who hid $15,000 in debt didn't do it because he was evil. He did it because he could. He did it because the structure of their relationship allowed for secrecy. The husband who resented his stepson for 10 years was allowed to fester because the hard conversations weren't forced earlier. However, we also saw the antidote. We saw it in the couple who faced the mental load head-on. That wife didn't suffer in silence. She spoke up, she demanded equity, and they did the 18 months of hard work to rebuild the system of their marriage. That is what real love looks like. It looks like work. It looks like, I see you drowning, so I'm going to swim over and help you, not, tell me what to do. And finally, we have our 82-year-old widow. She represents a truth that terrifies many people but liberates others. You are enough on your own. The fear of leaving a toxic marriage, whether it's the cheater of 20 years or the abuser in China, is often the fear of being alone. But she shows us that solitude is not the same as loneliness. Solitude is a glass of beer at the bar, a quiet dog, and a life that belongs entirely to you. So, if you take anything away from this video, let it be this. Romance is beautiful, but due diligence is essential. Protect your heart, yes, but protect your credit score, protect your legal standing, and never, ever make yourself small to fit into someone else's life. Because the only person who is guaranteed to be with you until you're 82 is you. What do you guys think? Is the traditional marriage model failing us, or are we just seeing the worst case scenarios? Let me know in the comments below. Take care of yourselves.